whopper speech. Harry told me 15 or 20 minutes, so bear with me here, but I think it's going to be a good one. So some of you may know me through my restaurants, Due South Barbecue and Fatback Soul Shack, or our boarding house on Roanoke Street, or our rental properties in Christiansburg. Some of you may know my husband as your doctor, Jared. Some of you have maybe only heard about me from standing up time and time again for our personal property rights and our American liberties, whether it's standing up for our Second Amendment rights at the Montgomery County and Floyd County sanctuary meetings, or standing up against overreaching and overbroad ordinances in Christiansburg.
That's where I'm at.
That's right. That was you. See, it is so important to go against the grain and to go against the status quo. That's something our founding fathers taught us, and we seem to have forgotten that. The status quo has gotten us into the mess we are in right now. Well, it is time to get uncomfortable. It's time to face head-on some of our shortcomings as the Republican Party and to address them. It's time to fight for what we believe in, because if we don't do it now, we are running out of time and we are running out of liberties. Let me ask you something. How many of you tonight would dare show up at this event wearing a cowboy hat, cowboy boots, being a little odd? Joanne would. Not many people. But it's okay. I'm a big girl and I can handle it. Because I'm confident in who I am. And I have a very strong moral compass and strong family support and a strong relationship with God the Almighty. And I know that the good Lord above is watching over me, is protecting me, and is leading my life in this campaign right now. We, as Republicans, are far too concerned about what others might think about us, what someone might say about us on Facebook, what our peers might judge. And we are being schooled by the loudmouth left-wing liberals. These radicals don't like America. They think socialism and Marxism ideals are a better way of life, despite what history has taught us. These radicals want to rewrite history instead of learning from it. The left is beating us in politics, and they are destroying America. Critical race theory, transgenderism, vaccine passports and mask mandates, protect the environment at all costs with the Green New Deal, except when it comes to their own private jets and luxury yachts. No freedom of speech that isn't in line with their thoughts, no Second Amendment rights. Meanwhile, looting and riots and destruction of property is allowed by radical district attorneys, mayors, governors who choose to simply ignore the rule of law. News and facts being replaced by opinions, propaganda, and censorship. We have to wake up. We have to get up off our butts and start pushing back on this insanity. Unfortunately, we've all wasted a lot of time and we have done a lot of talking without acting, while this vocal minority has grown bolder and louder and more powerful. The AOC, liberal millennials, have created trendy as a political statement, and they are catching the attention of many of our adolescents and our youth. Go dye your hair blue. Wear weird, freaky clothes. Break the law. Ignore science and history and ignore God. Call yourself transgender or a mermaid or a unicorn and be entitled to whatever it is that you want, whether you have earned it or not. And this is attractive because it's very easy. Because bad decisions no longer matter and no one is ever held accountable. The left is beating us. Have you ever noticed that they try so hard to be different that they actually all end up looking the exact same? My husband Jared and I were at the NRV fair in Dublin last week, and you could actually spot the libs, blue hair and double masked. We saw them, about 4 of them there. Meanwhile, the conservatives, which luckily in this neck of the woods is the overwhelming majority, we conservatives, we are wearing normal clothes for the most part. Most folks are sporting their natural hair color, not me. But we go to work, we pay our taxes, we go to church, we eat, sleep, pay taxes, and then we die. Y'all have heard that. And this normalcy is not good. If we are going to take back Virginia and hold on to her, we will need to welcome different, and we are going to have to welcome uncomfortable. The tattooed up libertarian, the redneck mom who can't afford a dress to a fancy dinner, the teachers who are done with the liberal agenda. Isn't that right, Dana? Absolutely. The pro-Trump bikers, police who want our support, and business owners who are fed up with government overreach. If you believe in the foundational principles of limited government, free market economics, and upholding the moral fiber of this nation, then you have a spot in this new Republican Party. What I want folks to know about me is I am here and I am entering this arena to not just turn the tables on the radical liberals, but also on the spineless, do-nothing, establishment rhino Republicans. Yes. Because I'm a new kind of candidate, and I'm not going to be put into a box. I speak my mind, I believe in transparency, I say what I mean what I say, and I do what I say that I'm going to do. I'm not afraid to talk about issues, and I'll let it be known if I disagree and why I disagree. I do things differently because it's who I am, and I think you can see for yourself actual fruits of my convictions. I don't get on camera and talk about what I'm going to do because I'm already busy doing it. And at the end of the day, I act on my convictions. That's why I'm standing up here in front of you tonight. Fortunately, it seems that a great many people like what I have to say and are willing to step up and help to fix what's broken. I hope I'm part of a trend towards citizen leaders who genuinely care about this country and are willing to step up, say what needs to be said, and then back up those words with real actions. And if you guys haven't already noticed, I wear cowboy boots because in Floyd County, where I live, we have copperhead snakes. We live on a farm, and I will symbolically wear my cowboy boots to Richmond because there's a lot of snakes in Richmond. So what do I believe in that I'm going to fight for in Richmond? Number one, I will fight for the hard-working, rural people of Southwest Virginia. My friends and neighbors who work and pay taxes and go to church and generally try to do right by one another. The people who know right from wrong and believe that actions speak louder than words and that actions have consequences. The people that are willing to work and not simply who are looking to be victims demanding handouts. Number two, I will fight for our freedoms and the Second Amendment. I'm going to fight for full restoration of our right to bear arms. We don't need new restrictions on firearms, and we need to repeal all the damage the Dems have done. I will be a voice for the country, rural, hardworking people, and my people are systemically being disenfranchised by a vocal minority of activists who have clearly placed their own personal desires over our country's best interests. Number three, election integrity. How come a voter ID is bad, but everyone should have a vaccination card? Are you really trying to tell me that it's not possible for everybody to get an ID card? The IRS seems pretty good at finding you when you haven't paid your taxes, as does Social Security and the issuers of unemployment benefits. I don't hear people complaining when they have to show an ID to buy alcohol, to get on a plane, or to go to Disney World. Everybody needs to show a valid ID when they go to vote. lost sight of their duty to teach our kids and are instead becoming indoctrination centers for political and social crap like CRT and transgenderism. If the money follows the students, I firmly believe those public schools that choose politics over education will wither on the vine and die, while public and private schools focused on students and the community will flourish, as will our children. Number 5, free market economy. I believe in privatizing everything. Big government is inefficient. Let supply and demand do its thing. And that leads to my focus on government overreach and bureaucracy. I'm a small business owner, and I work for a living. I didn't grow up in politics or academia or wealthy America. I must put out good products at a reasonable price to keep customers coming back. And if I don't, I go out of business. Small businesses have been treated so poorly by a forever overreaching government. This government is always mandating how we do business, whether forcing mask and vaccine shot mandates to how many people are allowed inside of our businesses, violating so many personal rights and freedoms. Government continually forces businesses to fill out more and more paperwork and do their own administrative work with no regard to the resources, energy, labor, time required to do it all, and next to nothing in the way of customer support. One of the first bills I'll be submitting for is for folks to be compensated for their administrative time. So whether it's the hours that it takes you to fill out your state tax returns, or the days that it takes small business employers to fill out VEC reports, sales tax reports, DEQ forms, meals tax reports, etc., we are going to get you compensated for your time and energy. Government agencies should strive for efficiency and transparency, and they should feel the burden of their processes and be incentivized to make them better by compensating folks for the time they have to spend jumping through the hoops of bureaucratic BS. Customer service should also be a priority, as it is the customer that is paying for the service. And every single time that we are put on hold with those agencies, the clock will be ticking and metrics developed and published for all to see just how efficient or not our government functions truly are. And we all know what the answer there is, which is why I think that everything should be privatized. See, I don't see myself as a politician, and I don't mind being the bad guy. If speaking the truth is bad, then oh well. I'm just willing to speak, and I'm willing to act for those who share my values and my beliefs, and those who have an appreciation for how lucky we are to be Americans. Because most Americans are sick and tired of being blamed and taken advantage of by folks who'd rather be lazy and feel sorry for themselves than actually work hard for something. And we are also sick of American companies who care more about their profits than doing right in America. Can anyone think about Nike, the NBA, and China and tell me that you have a warm, positive, warm and fuzzy thought? We've put up with it for years, and it's got to stop. Because if we don't start to act, America really is in danger of losing the freedoms that so many take for granted. So I'm going to wrap up with a story which I hope will give a clear example of why I'm here. A few years ago, I went to see live music one evening at one of my restaurants, Fatback Soul Shack. And while I sat there, I watched a group of libs passing around voter registrations and going up to each table to get folks to sign up to work for Flock-A-Vento's campaign. I felt my head almost explode. I could not believe they would be in my restaurant soliciting for Flock-A-Vento. So after slipping out the back door, kicking some rocks in my back parking lot, and cussing, I came back in, I sat down, and my husband and I started strategizing. See, the libs were not afraid to speak up. They were willing to take the time to organize, and we conservatives have been too comfortable to push back. And as a result, we've been losing our rights, our values, and our country. Well, no thanks. Jared and I started with what we could immediately control, how we do our music at Fatback Soul Shack. See, the bands that were playing there were all liberals, and their liberal gaggle was there every single weekend dominating our music scene. I immediately knew what I had to do. I had to cut them off from the Fatback Soul Shack teat. Y'all know what a teat is, right? I'll tell you what a teat is. It's what the fat little piglets suckle on. It's a real term. So the very next week, we announced we were no longer paying our bands. Bands were welcome to schedule time to promote themselves and collect their own tips and charge their own cover charges, but we would no longer be paying them. I was going to teach them a little lesson in free market economics 101. And oh, the wailing and gnashing of teeth began. How dare you, Marie March? How dare you cut us off? Don't you know our value? You're going to go out of business. You don't appreciate musician or the arts. And guess what happened? Over the next 6 months, first of all, every lib from Blacksburg cussed me out and left. But lo and behold, we still had musicians who understood the concept of free market capitalism, and they were lining up for the opportunity to see what they were really worth. And our crowds went through the roof. Because free market works. Some bands now take home as much as $4,000 a night because they take ownership, they promote themselves, and they don't suckle on the teat of others. It's called accountability and being paid what you're worth to your customers. And now, when we go see music at our restaurant, we walk up and we make sure that folks are signed up to vote Republican and to vote for me and our GOP ticket this fall. Taking ownership and responsibility and accountability, being true to who you are, having the ability to stand for what you believe in. Who does all this sound like? Donald Trump, maybe? He didn't care what people thought because he knew what was good for America. And come hell or high water, he was going to work for us. Remember his song at his rallies? You can't always get what you want, but you get what you need. Well, I'm here to tell you that Donald J. motivated me to get involved, and I will be your voice if you are on the side of our American freedoms. And don't be ashamed to pull on your cowboy boots and come get dirty and go to work with me. Because together, we will take back Virginia. We must, because we're running out of time and we're running out of rights. So God bless everybody here tonight. God bless this new, hopefully energized Republican Party, and God bless America.